Hello friends, I am here in Provo, Utah, just about to leave Deseret Industries. This is part of a series where I'm biking, so you can see the others before that to see how I got here. The map shows the location of where I am with regards to OREM. This is Provo. And I have other videos explaining why I'm in Utah and going up and down various places, the bike I'm riding on. You can see all those videos as part of the playlist, and in each of them I give different kinds of commentary about Utah, cycling in Utah, the weather and so forth. You may want to look at those if that's of interest to you, and please do subscribe if you haven't done so before, especially if this is your first time. Don't leave without subscribing, it's free. All you have to do is click the subscribe button. Now, as I've said in my previous videos, you can ride on the pavement or sidewalk. As you can see, it's icy. This bike can handle snow and ice pretty well. It has good suspension and traction on the tires. I am on State Street and crossing the Provo River, and we are going to turn here and go underneath State Street. Now, when I got to the bottom here to go under State Street, passing through the tunnel, I was in for a surprise, and you're gonna see it just now. Besides being isolated, look at what I have to go through. It's flooded out. At least it's not frozen. And in addition to having my backpack on, I have another long bag that I'm carrying for a tripod. So sometimes it makes me swerve a little bit more because I get a little off balance. And I decided to come off the bike here and fix it and just walk up this way. This little section here is part of a biking, hiking, jogging trail that goes alongside the Provo River. And I saw those two ducks there. Check them out. Aren't they really nice? Makes for a nice scene right there. Can you see the ducks? So I'm on my way to Dollar Tree, which is a dollar store. You get everything there for $1.25. Years ago it was just $1. So I guess you could blame that on inflation. The cars are passing on State Street. And one of the things that you can see again in your monitor, your screen, whatever, your phone, however you're watching, are the mountains in the background. Aren't they beautiful? Right now there's snow covered, and you can also see clouds are circling on the tops of the mountain. And right here is a small plaza or mall. It has Macy's, which is a grocery, Dollar Tree, and Ace Hardware. I'm just going to the dollar store. But as I always do, I'm showing you in the raw. So whereas people would normally cut this out, I show you everything. And as you can see, I'm not the only one biking. Lots of other people bike here. They also use scooters, electric bikes, and so forth. One day I'll get a vehicle, perhaps a small car, or get back a truck whenever I can afford it. And I will start recording from that example. But I think I won't give up recording from a bike, because One thing with the bike, it gives you a different perspective. You can go to areas that a vehicle can't, as well as it's good exercise. And I used to do a lot of running and have not run in such a long time, and it's has made me out of shape. So being on a bike is good for my health. One thing too with the weather, when it's very cold like this, most people like to stay inside, which can cause you to pay even less attention to your health and exercising. So it's good to get out. I have videos on crazy driving, by the way. If you have not seen them, make sure and look for it. Not of crazy driving in Utah per se, although I did create a video about that. It's about when I was doing my stint in Trinidad, the amount of craziness I saw in the driving there. So we're back on State Street. We're heading north, and in this way I'm going to get to the bus. Now you see this vehicle here, that's kind of crazy, because he clearly saw me coming, but instead of reversing he just stood there. I guess he thought I should be riding on the street. However, I am allowed to ride on the pavement or sidewalk, and I didn't want to go on the street because of the icy conditions, and I didn't have time to check whether any vehicles was coming. So anyway, I had the right of way there, and he should have pulled back. Some normally do, but he didn't. On the left there, that's Carl Malone's place. They sell all-terrain vehicles. In case you don't know who Carl Malone is, he was a great basketball professional for the Jazz, which is a local team in Utah. It's a big guy. In cycling in this direction, you can see more of the terrain, more of the houses and whatnot that's around. I am not going back the way that I came, because the way that I came was from a ascent to descent, and that would put a lot of struggle on me, especially because I'm carrying stuff. So this ascent here, even though you can't tell, I know it looks flat, but it's not. It's a slight incline. It's not as bad, and at some point I will actually take the UVX, which is a bus, and that will take me up the hill and to a place where I can then ride on the flat again. And yes, you can go on in the bus with your bike. There's spaces for it, designated for it, and you will see it just now. In the background you can hear me breathing and sighing. Some of that is the struggle of riding the bike, but most of it is actually the cold. It's bitterly cold. And having lived in the Caribbean so long, even though I have lived years in the cold, but having been in the Caribbean so long, I'm taking quite a while to acclimatize to it again. But regardless to whether you're acclimatized to it or not, I think for anyone this is bitterly cold, and nobody would be coming out here to ride a bike like me. So it's not unique to me, is what I'm trying to say. And when you're on the move, the wind, it's not a strong wind, but it's just enough to penetrate your gloves, your coat, whatever have you, and make it even colder. You could see the sun hitting the tops of the mountains in the background. Just makes it picturesque. At this time of year, the sun comes up like almost 8 o'clock in the morning. It's now rising, and it goes down early, sometimes 4:30. It's already dark, so you don't get as much light, and the light and the sun also stays in one part of the horizon, so it doesn't go necessarily overhead like east to west. It would just stay in one part. For me, it almost looks like it rises in the southeast, and then it goes back down within that area, like southwest, not coming north at all. It just creates that illusion from the angle. You see how that person reversed, seeing me coming? That's what I'm talking about. Most people will do that. On the right, in case you didn't notice, that's a car dealership. And on the left are various schools for learning. One is a cosmetology school, one is to help you get your high school diploma or whatever. Up on the left there is like a mini plaza. It has Walmart, has different other little shops. And by the traffic lights, that intersection that goes across University Parkway, which is what I'm gonna take to get closer to where I need to go. And past these people here who are all on their phones, so they are not aware that I'm coming until I let them know. And you saw the UVX, that's the bus, the extended bus. So I'm gonna cross, and now we're inside the bus. Right on the right there, that frame is where you can actually hook your bike and sit there. But I'm just standing with my bike because it's just one stop that I'm going to, so I don't need to, you know, mark my bike and sit down and all that, because the trip is going to be less than a few minutes. So this saves me a lot of time in having to bike uphill, and will take me to what is known as University Place, and from there I can then ride on a flat again. Also gives you a good idea of the perspective inside the bus. I'll have other videos about this coming out. This is actually a free ride, you don't have to pay for it, this particular bus, the UVX. So the camera is still mounted to the bike and coming out. And this is still University Parkway. All of this gives you an idea of traveling around too. So you can know how to get around if you're planning to come to this part of Utah. Something that also takes very long here are the traffic lights. Sometimes you could press the button and you have to wait 3-4 minutes before the walking light gives you a way to go, like that. And like anything else, you have to go carefully, because there's a mixture of ice, snow, slush, and you can slip if you're not careful, even if you're just walking. Also make sure to get the right shoes with traction, and rubber, real rubber soles, not this kind of sponge sole that they sell now, because that will just make you slip and fall. So this is University Place. It's like a big shopping area, and believe it or not, I have never gone in there. Never really had a reason to. Perhaps I'll go one day. Most of the time I'm just on the outside, going to the other shops. If you've been watching a lot of my short videos as well, you will see captions of certain things that are within this trip. Sometimes I will take a recording of something that other people might more or less ignore, but then I highlight it and then it becomes something of a quote-unquote sensation, because sometimes you just don't realize the things around you and the meaning it has. I'm going across the parking lot here, but if you're going to do that, just be careful, because sometimes vehicles are coming from the left or the right and they don't see you coming across, and that could cause a serious accident. This building in front of me here is a Marriott hotel that they're putting up. It's new, it hasn't been totally completed, but looks like it's near the completion stage. And up ahead is the village, which has a cinema, restaurants, various things that you would expect from any plaza. Also, again, I really have not gone through any of them. I tend to eat my own food home, no junk food, and I'm vegan, so that also cuts down on the number of choices I have. And I haven't been in the cinema yet. I'm here for a important purpose, so really not here for fun and vacation, so I'm not really taking part in many of these things. Nevertheless, you get to see it. As we pass, you could probably see what's showing now. Might be hard to pick that up from camera. So I'm going to turn left here and start proceeding north. And here is particularly icy. You can see everybody has their lights turned on. Luckily I have the walk light that gives me access. Now this part of the sidewalk or pavement has been salted, so the snow has melted as well, and it's clear and dry, but it doesn't always happen. You'll see further up that they haven't done that, and I'll be going through ice, which can again cause you to slip and fall, so you just have to be careful. See, this vehicle kind of blocks me, but they're looking one way and not the other. So I'll just go around them. That has happened to me a lot as a pedestrian too. That, if anything about crazy driving in Utah is common, is that people do not look left or right. The drivers, I should say. They tend to just look in the way traffic is going, but they don't look in the other directions for pedestrians that are passing. And that, it has happened to me a number of times that they're about to turn and then they suddenly realize that I'm crossing or I'm there. And you could see the look of shock and horror on their face, because they know what could have happened if they just suddenly drove off. So in that regard, you know, don't look at the vehicle when you're walking or riding. Always look at the driver to see where they are looking, and to make sure that they have actually seen you, because otherwise it can end in a serious accident. So you can see how icy it is here, and the bike is going through it pretty good. As I mentioned before, one thing that makes any journey in Utah long are the number of intersections and the number of traffic lights. It takes quite a while sometimes to get past one intersection. And in my experience, pressing the light to cross doesn't necessarily speed up the traffic lights. All it does is that when it's turned for the other vehicles to go on green, it will just show you the walk light. So it doesn't necessarily mean that by clicking it 10 times, you know, it'll speed up things. And each intersection is different in the timeline that it gives. There are some intersections, wow, you almost feel like you're standing up there 10 minutes to try and cross. Then others are pretty fast. So it all depends. I'm actually walking across right now. You can see how that vehicle on the right stopped. That's the proper way. And you can see just how icy that sidewalk or pavement is. The snow gives such a different look to everything around you. One thing I like about places like Utah, the planning that has gone into everything makes it wide and open. So the roads are big and open, the sidewalk is wide and open, and so forth. I hope you enjoyed this little trip. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free. Just click the subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it.